Hello folks. This video is really, it's not really a response video to Vention's latest video, but it's more of a sort of an opinion from over the pond in the UK. His recent video that was out today, Think Clearly, Your Life Depends on It. He's absolutely right. Now I've already watched it twice, just to let it settle in. And whilst it might be a mind-numbingly obvious comment to think clearly your life depends on it, sometimes we need a little nudge. Sometimes we need the men around us to say, hey, look, you know, you've forgotten this. You're so busy doing that, you've forgotten this. And he's absolutely right. And whilst I wouldn't have described it that way for the years that I've been putting my life back together, I have been doing it as if my life depended on it. And it's just I would have phrased it a different way. Now, Vention's very much into Bitcoin, and he's made some money on property and that sort of thing. And I'm sure there's other stuff going on, gold and silver. Just want to say over here in the UK, I've got a few things where my money that I've made is now invested. And I try to span it across what I can, obviously, so, you know, if something tanks on you, then it doesn't destroy your life. Now, part of mine is gold. I basically buy coins, certain types of coins. And the reason I buy gold in the UK is silver in the UK, you have to pay VAT on. That's 20%. Now, normally there's a spread on when you buy precious metals or even stocks, whatever. And generally in the UK, that's 10%. So your silver would have to increase in value by 30% just for you to get your money back when you've sold it. Now, it will eventually, you know, if you're young and you've got 40 years ahead of you, yeah, great, buy silver. But gold, the recent gold I bought a couple of years ago, the 10% spread I made back in 6 months, and now it's about 20% up on its investment. So we have to be careful in the UK what precious metals we buy. I also have some ETFs and shares, and I dabble in and out of shares. Recently made, last couple of weeks, 5% on Apple after fees. And that was just being cautious, and between myself and a mate of mine, I played the markets for a couple of years now and done a lot of study. And you don't always win, but as long as you're up, as Warren Buffett would say, rule number 1, don't lose money. And rule number 2, don't lose money. Rule number 3, if in doubt, refer to rule 1 and 2. So these ETFs I've got, one is particular is a FTSE 100 tracker. I use a company called Vanguard because their tracker you invest in is free. There's no charges on it basically, apart from an annual charge, which is a pittance. And it will also pay you 4% annually. So your investment can fall by 4% and you still haven't lost any money. Now, the FTSE is volatile. It's not everyone's cup of tea. Its strength is in the banking industry. But as we all know, that the UK, the City of London, is allegedly awash with funny money. So they're going to keep the FTSE up because obviously these sort of people don't want to lose gazillions overnight. But it does shoot up and down. It did crash the same as everything else earlier this year. But I bought it almost at the dip. It was back up to where it is now, so I would have to lose about 20% just to get down to the money I've invested. So that's relatively safe, although there's no such thing as a safe bet. Cash, in my opinion and in many others, you need to keep at least, or other people said you need to keep at least 6 months' money back in case you get made redundant or something like that. Me personally, I think it's a year or 2. Now, I got enough that I could live very well for a year. Cash reserves just ready to go. If I stretched it, I could eke it out to 2. And I really think that that's the first thing that we should aim for. You should aim for somewhere where you've got cash or something that you can instantly resolve into cash fast, if it all goes belly up in your life. But obviously that's a balance. And I've got other things, like in the UK they do tax-free things called ISAs, and it's an investment thing. You can put it in, up to 20,000 in it, and the interest you get is tax-free. The one I use invests in bonds and shares, a mixture of both. So that's, again, is relatively safe, although I always use relatively. And this is not financial advice to anyone, and do not take my advice, and do not copy me. Make your own decisions. That's all I'm saying. I'm just giving you sort of a rough roundup of what I do. And again, with that being, as I say, that ISA being a mixture of bonds and shares, generally when some are going up, some are going down, and it balances itself out. So it's not risk-free. Nothing is. Life is not risk-free. But there you go. Now, another thing, if you start following, in my opinion, start following the markets and start looking at what things happen, you can start to double guess or pre-guess what's going to happen. Now, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, the FTSE went down, ever so small, but it went down. Now, our Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, overnight, it was being fed out. You know, the government were denying there was anything going on, but it was fed out that the civil service was going to get a pay freeze for the next year or two. Now, obviously, it's all over the news, government ministers denying it. But I've seen things like this before. My guess was that the FTSE would bounce in the morning and go up, because the market doesn't give a shit about people. The market is ruthless. The market is about money. And it did. It bounced up, because that's the sort of thing the market likes, that the government is cutting back on its spending. It likes that, especially in the banking area, which is the FTSE 100. There's also the FTSE 250, but I tend not to invest in that too much, mainly the FTSE 100. So you can start to learn how these things go, but it does take study, it does take time. There is risk, and to quote Vention, think clearly, your life depends on it. Now, Vention, I hope you're watching this video, because as you all know, my primary channel is still in the gulag till the end of January. But I would like to ask you, Vention, or you guys watching this, if you have any channels where they've got any videos up of buying Bitcoin idiots guides, because whilst I've spent the last few years working how to invest in precious metals, worse than how to invest in the markets, I've not spent any time at all looking at this. And so if any of you guys can put a link up, literally Janet and John stuff, you know, A, B, C, D, this is how to do it. None of the technical stuff, just the easy stuff, buying Bitcoin, storing Bitcoin, obviously that's your codes and stuff. I'd really appreciate it. Vention, if you could do that, that'd be fantastic. I'm sure it'll help me, I'm sure it'll help others, even though I know you've probably done it before in the past. Any of the other guys, subscribers watching this, you want to reference me off to a video, that's fine. Do me a favour, guys, please subscribe, please like this channel and my primary channel, which is 7 Friend of Morpheus. I'll put a link to that. I'll put a link to Vention's video, and let's start supporting each other more and more and more. Because, guys, we need each other, as I said in another video of mine, because the cavalry is not coming. Anyway, I hope that gives you an idea of other things that you can do. And I just want to round this up, because I know what YouTube is like. This is not financial advice, and I recommend that you make your own investments where you are. Anyway, by the way, this photo you're looking at, if you've stayed with me to the end, that's my foot on the left there. That's a trip to Iceland. Foot on the right was my sister. Yep, and we had a great holiday. And I just want to put up a couple of bits of humour because it's true. We're discussing money, and if money can't buy happiness, explain motorcycles and beer. Well, this one speaks for itself. And the last one, guys, it's all about making a cup of tea. Until next time.